has significant implications for Social Security recipients, SSI, SSDI, VA benefits recipients, and essentially every American and every individual here in the United States. And this is major news, guys. So in this breakdown, I want to discuss with you guys the major news and its potential impact. And it's important to note that there is some good news here, but there's also some bad news to consider. So I want you guys to be aware about that. So definitely stay tuned to this video as we dive into all these different details. But before we begin, if you guys appreciate these daily updates, make sure to take a moment, hit the like button for the video. I really appreciate that. And if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate that. So the recent news is that a bill has recently passed, and it has the potential to bring bigger increases and also changes to Social Security, as well as a number of other things, and ultimately directly impact you, right? So, we're going to kind of look at this from a comprehensive perspective and look at it like an overview of what this bill entails and what it might have that could potentially affect you, your benefits, and your financial situation. And of course, there's breaking news, guys, that a riot has just taken place. Literally has just occurred, erupted. I don't know how you want to describe it. A riot is taking place right now in DC, and you guys are letting me know that you're well aware of what's going on over in DC right now. This is literally just after Congress has passed a significant bill, but since you guys are bringing it up, let's kind of segue into that just for a second here. So this is literally breaking news here. How many of you guys are from the DC area? If you can, just drop a quick comment down below and let me know what part of the United States you guys are in. But literally, violence is erupting as protests are taking place outside the DNC in Southeast, calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, guys. Now, this violence actually broke out, and let me know how many of you guys were aware of this. Drop a 1 if you were aware of the DC riots that are taking place, and drop a number 2 if you guys were not yet aware of the DC riots that are taking place right now. But essentially, violence broke out at a protest outside the Democratic National Committee just this evening. It's like hours ago. So basically, the participants are calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. The U.S. Capitol Police said 6 of their officers were hurt, and their injuries ranged anywhere from minor cuts, yada, yada, yada. But just after 8:30 p.m., guys. So we've got a lot of twos here. A lot of twos did not know that this riot was taking place in DC right now. So and a lot of ones. So we got mixed opinions on. We have mixed feedback on whether you've heard about the DC riots or this is breaking news for you regarding the DC riots. So. So Capitol Police, as of 8:30 p.m., 4 hours ago, Capitol Police said that their officers were working to keep back about 150 people who were illegally and violently protesting in the area of Ivory and Canal Streets in Southeast. So the video posted on Twitter, currently known as X, but formerly known as Twitter, by the Jewish Voice of Peace Action, showed officers pushing back protesters in front of the headquarters. Quote, "We came here chanting ceasefire. We came here saying stop murdering Palestinians, stop murdering more children. 4,000 have already been. It's brutal out there. Stop it." And the quote goes on to say, I'm trying to clean it up to kind of keep it PG here for you guys. And what they did, they met us with pepper. Okay, so basically they're saying what happened. This is one of the protesters. They're saying what happened down there. So they came here chanting ceasefire. We came here saying, stop the killings and whatnot. And what did they do? They met us with pepper spray, the full riot gear with tear gas, with violence. This is what our government is saying it thinks about Palestinian lives. Do you guys agree or disagree with this particular person from the protest? Let me know what you guys think on that one. Is there an unfairness here between the Israelis and the Palestinians from how the government is treating the different protests? Because we've seen protests from both sides. We've seen protests from Palestinian pro-Palestinian supporters. We've also seen protests from Israeli supporters. So I just love to get your feedback. Let me know. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section down below, and what you're seeing, because you guys are seeing this too. By the way, if you guys are able to hear me, just drop a quick yes or a no if you're not able to hear me in the comments. I really appreciate that. Oh man. So hopefully I'm being heard. But yeah, this is really wild what's going on in DC, Washington, DC right now. Capitol Police asked people to stay away from the area, and said they evacuated members of Congress who were at the DNC, which is the real reason why I started this live. I wanted to let you guys know what has just been announced. But this is literally breaking news. So I did want to kind of like not ignore what's happening right now since we are live. And we have, what, 400 people in here now. If you guys could just take a hot second and drop a quick like for the video, I really appreciate it. And so many of you people are paying attention to what's going on here. And that's why I really love you guys. Fullick G, the boss, says, it's in the Bible. Why so serious? Well, not everyone reads the Bible. So I appreciate you sharing this information. Because again, not everyone reads the Bible, but a lot of what's happening right now, and I'm not trying to be a Bible thumper or anything like that, which I'm not, but a lot of people are saying that what we're seeing right now has all been prophesized. So drop a 1 if you believe that everything we're seeing, actually, no, I don't want to get this confused. Just drop a quick comment. It's in the book. Just say it's in the book if you believe that what we're experiencing right now has already been prophesized. And if you don't agree that this has been prophesized, say it's not in the books, just so I can get an understanding on where you guys stand on this. So yeah, but this is absolutely wild. Like actually, I told you guys what they did in New York. They shut down the Brooklyn Bridge. There was a shutdown in Manhattan at the Grand Central Station less than a week ago. In fact, just a couple of days ago. And now they've shut down roads in Washington, D.C., South Capitol Street between Canal and East Streets Southeast, Ivy Street between Canal Street and New Jersey Avenue Southeast. It's wild. And like I said, they had to quickly evacuate the Congress. They had to evacuate Congress and get them out of there, and try to keep the lawmakers safe. But these things are erupting, and they're getting wilder and wilder depending upon what side of the United States you're in. That's why I asked you what cities you guys are in, because depending upon where you live right now, I mean, we've already heard multiple warnings from the FBI regarding cities that are basically at higher risk than others. So with all of the ceasefire requests, protests erupting in multiple parts of the country, in different cities, I think we should definitely all heed the FBI warning that we have received and that I've shared with you guys multiple times on this channel. By the way, if you're new to the channel, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you guys as a part of the family, as a part of the community. And I know that this is not the best of news, but I've always been taught that knowledge is power. I do think that you guys appreciate the information that I share with you, even if it's not necessarily the most positive news. I think it's better to be aware, and so that you can prepare yourselves and your families, so that we can survive this and make it to the other side, because I think we're going to make it to the other side. We just definitely have a lot of bumps in the road, and several more hurdles before we can hopefully see some of this activity subside. Now, also in the news, breaking news, guys, U.S. senators voted 87. This is just hours ago. U.S. senators, because we had the House vote just yesterday, I think it was, and they passed this bill. So U.S. senators today voted 87-11 to approve a piece of legislation that will keep the government funded into next year. Now, this particular decision is marked a significant step in ensuring that the continued operations of various government programs and services will keep going. However, the details of this particular move, the reasons behind it, and of course the road ahead are not necessarily as straightforward as they might seem. So I kind of wanted to break down what this stopgap spending bill actually means, why it's important, and what lies ahead in terms of the world of the U.S. government funding. And a lot of people are like, okay, how much money is going into Ukraine? How much money is going to Israel to fight off and battle Hamas? How much money is going toward the Ukraine to fight off Russia and their efforts? So I understand a lot of the concerns because many people are like, well, okay, how about people on Social Security here? A lot of people are hurting. Social Security is experiencing a severe shortfall and is in desperate need of reform. Why is there so many billions of dollars so much more easily to go overseas to other countries, pretty much any other country but here in the United States? How is it so much easier to get overseas funding to other countries, but yet Social Security experiences and continues to experience a very widely known shortfall, right? So I totally get it. So imagine a situation where your monthly budget's running low and your next paycheck is, I don't know, still a few weeks away, right? So to bridge this financial gap, you might need to resort to like a temporary solution, like using your credit card or maybe even borrowing some money from a friend, right? So this is kind of like basically the situation that the government's in, the US government. This is what the US government does when it passes a stopgap spending bill, also known as a continuing resolution or a CR, also known as kicking the can down the road, right? And this is what the government likes to do. They like to kick the can down the road. They don't really want to fix anything. They don't really want permanent solutions. They want to keep you on the edge of your seat. Like this is just some, highly suspense-filled movie, and they want you to watch the sequel. And that's kind of what they're doing here. So this recent vote with 87 senators in favor and 11 senators oppose this bill signifies that the majority of U.S. lawmakers have given their approval for a stopgap spending bill. Now, this bill is a crucial piece of legislation, and it ultimately enables the government to continue its operations, even with a formal budget having not been passed. Okay, so that's another problem. There's like several cans that they're all like walking down the street together, collectively kicking down the road. So in essence, it's a financial lifeline that ensures that the government's lights stay on, federal employees get paid, essential services are maintained, and guess whose check will also continue to come in and continue to be direct deposited into their Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase account or Wells Fargo account? Of course, the senators, of course, the members of Congress's paychecks will not be interrupted. So we can't let that happen, right? So anyway, so without this measure in place, the government could have potentially faced a shutdown with severe consequences for citizens, for businesses, and of course, the economy at large, right? So let's talk about the duration of the stopgap spending bill, because this is really important. Now, I want you guys to think of it as like a temporary fix to kind of keep the financial wheels turning, right? So the bill will fund part of the government's needs, responsibilities until mid-January. And that's when the remaining programs within the annual appropriations process through February. So what this means is that it provides a short-term solution, but it's clearly not a long-term budgetary plan, right? And although the recent vote was a significant step toward averting a government shutdown, it's crucial to understand that this is not the end of the story. So many hurdles are still ahead of us, guys, and many hurdles remain before a final deal is just on a full year spending, which has yet to be reached. Now, keep in mind, of course, President Biden still has to sign off on this, but I just don't see him not signing it, right? So we're pretty much in the home stretch for like an extension here. Now, Senate Appropriations Chair Patty Murray, a Washington state Democrat, emphasized the need to look beyond the immediate relief provided by the stopgap spending bill. She also stressed that the real work lies in what's going to happen next. And avoiding a shutdown, according to Murray, is far from being a mission accomplished, right? So what this means is that there's still a lot of work to be done before the next shutdown deadline looms. So where do we go from here, right? So with this stopgap spending bill approved, the U.S. government buys itself a little bit more time, but the real challenge is still ahead of us. And so I don't want you guys to get too excited about this. Like I want to dive in just a little bit into what needs to happen to secure long-term funding and how this process works, right? So one key step in this journey towards securing full year funding involves the conference process between the House and the Senate, right? So this process is essential for reconciling differences and crafting a bill that can actually pass into law. So the goal is to create a spending bill that will make a difference for the people represented by lawmakers back home. So in this process, lawmakers need to be open to listening to opposing views, making tough decisions, and, hopefully leaving on a partisan agreement, right? Now, of course, the challenge lies in finding some common ground and compromise, as the legislative process often involves negotiations and tons of trade-offs. So now, you got four key lawmakers that are playing a pivotal role in reaching an agreement on this full year spending bill, right? So these lawmakers are Senator Chair Patty Murray. You got Senate Ranking Member Susan Collins. She's a Maine Republican. You've got a number of other key figures here, right? Now, but these four individuals experienced, they're very experienced. Basically, everyone in Congress is super experienced because they're old as heck. But ultimately, they have years of experience working out bipartisan deals on spending bills and other legislation. However, they often stress the importance of keeping politics and outside influences out of the negotiations. So, there's that, right? Now, here's the big thing, though. The Senate drafted its dozen spending bills based on the total spending levels that are outlined in the debt limit, which ended up basically limiting law that Congress approved earlier in the year. So this approach, it provides a clear framework for budgeting, but it still requires an agreement on how the funds are allocated among government functions. So House Republicans took somewhat of a different approach by writing their bills with more than $100 billion below the spending levels established in the debt limit. So they ended up adding numerous hot button policy proposals that stand very little chance of becoming law, but they threw it in there anyway. So Senator Collins discussed the importance of total funding levels and a supplemental spending package, right? Decisions about whether to adhere to the spending levels in the debt limit law or to pursue alternative paths will ultimately rest with the congressional leaders. So we got to see what they're going to come up with. Now, as the nation continues to watch all these developments very closely, there is a possibility that the Senate could consider a 4-bill spending package. And that would be very interesting if they did that. So this package includes the commerce, justice, science, energy, water, defense, and labor HHS education spending bill. So this approach could be seen as a pragmatic way to make progress in negotiations. Now, however, it's important to note that the path of full year funding agreements is not without challenges. Now, in recent events in the House, despite initial plans to vote on additional spending bills, House Republican leaders, they have announced that the chamber was adjourning until after Thanksgiving break. So Congress is yet again going on break, guys, and kicking the can further down the road. Now, the big question on everybody's mind is, how is this going to affect Social Security benefits? How is it going to affect benefits for SSI, SSDI, VA benefits, etc.? Well, the good news is that Social Security benefits are not directly impacted by government shutdown. thanks to the way that the program's funded and categorized. Mandatory programs, Social Security is considered a mandatory program, which means that it operates independently of the federal government's annual budgeting process. Unlike a lot of the other government agencies and programs that rely on things like appropriation bills passed by Congress, Social Security doesn't depend on those shorter term funding measures. So that's kind of good news. The 3.2% cost of living, the COLA, the annual increase in Social Security benefits that's meant to help recipients keep up with rising living expenses is still in play. And this adjustment is based on changes in the consumer price index, the CPI. And the recent 3.2% increase indicates that the cost of goods and services that retirees typically buy has gone up by about that much. But you and I know the truth, it has gone up by significantly more than that. So that's clearly an understatement. Then you got independent funding. Social Security has its own dedicated funding source through payroll taxes, which is collected from workers like me and you. Some of you guys are retired. Some of you guys are still working. But ultimately, they're funded by the people. And these funds are set aside in a trust fund specifically designated for Social Security benefits. Now, I mean, I know they're supposed to be dedicated to Social Security benefits, but I'm pretty sure they're tapping that fund because why else are we running out of money so fast, right? I don't think that they're following the rules and not touching that money. That's just my personal thought. I mean, if you think that Congress is going into that Social Security fund and using that money for another reason, just drop a comment. You know, if you think that Congress is using Social Security funds for another reason, just type in another reason, because I'm pretty sure that there is that fund, that Social Security fund, is being depleted quickly for other reasons than just simply paying out Social Security benefits. So that's neither here nor there. These funds are supposed to be set aside in a trust fund specifically designated for Social Security benefits. Now, ultimately, the program continues to have a source of revenue regardless of a government shutdown. So that's kind of good news. Now, let's talk about these uninterrupted payments. As a result of its mandatory status, mandatory, right? And dedicated funding, Social Security benefit programs are not affected by a government shutdown. Monthly Social Security checks continue to be processed and distributed to eligible beneficiaries, which include retirees, individuals with disabilities, we're talking SSDI, SSI, and dependents of deceased beneficiaries. Now, it is important to note that Social Security is just one of the programs that's unaffected by government shutdown. Of course, you got Medicare, you got VA, Veteran Affairs benefits also continue to be distributed during a shutdown for similar reasons. They have their own funding mechanisms separate from the discretionary budget that's subject to appropriation. So, you know, comparatively, there's a lot of other government functions and agencies considered non-essential, which would be affected by a government shutdown. Now, this includes furloughing federal employees, stopping various federal programs, services, and potentially impacting the broader economy. So that's where we are right now, guys. By the way, have you guys checked out the new channel? If you have checked out the new channel, just drop a quick comment, yes or no, down below. And for those of you guys who haven't, I'm going to make sure to drop a link to the new channel called Truth Exposed, because I'd love to get your feedback on it. Let me know what you guys think about the new channel. I've gotten tons of feedback from you, mostly positive, and I'm overwhelmed. I'm really, really thankful for the support, guys. I can't thank you enough. But yeah, it's wild. It is wild what is going on in DC right now. And between Israel, Hamas, the Palestinians, this desperate call for a ceasefire in Gaza, guys. I mean, what's next? I mean, really, what's next? What can we expect to happen next? I feel like 2023 can't end fast enough. Do you guys think that 2024 is going to be any better? I mean, here it is. Okay, so let's look at this here. Wow, this is this is unbelievable how much is going on right now in DC. Washington DC, guys. Washington DC. Oh, thank you, Shalita Wells. Loves the new channel. It dives deeper into the rich and how they run the. Wow, I appreciate that. That was actually the most recent upload to the channel, but there's so much content on that new channel. I really appreciate the feedback. But absolutely, guys. Washington, D.C. seems to be just losing control over there. Anti-war demonstrators clash with police at the DNC headquarters in Washington. A group of pro-Palestinian demonstrators clashed with law enforcement, prompting a brawl and at least one arrest on charges of assaulting police officers. U.S. Capitol Police said its officers were working to keep back about 150 people on a freaking Wednesday night, guys. Like, wait, it is Wednesday, right? Oh, well, technically it's Thursday now, depending upon what part of the country you're in. But things are wild. Things are clearly wild and getting more and more out of control. All I can say is that I hope and pray that you guys are safe wherever you happen to live. I know we got people from all over the country. You guys have already shared what cities you guys are from. And if you guys are just now joining the channel, what's going on, Catalia? I see you. You're welcome for another informative live. God bless you as well. Karen M., so is my family. Judah Love, great speaking voice. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mr. Dorothy 2020, excuse me, Mr. Dorothy 2004. Yes, God got this. How many of you guys believe God got this? We definitely need a higher power to step in and help us make it through these difficult times here. So, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. If you could, before you leave, drop a quick like for the video. Also subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you guys a part of our community, and join us over in the other channel. Check it out, and let me know what you think. I hope you like it. I like it. I'm having fun with the new channel. I've left a link for you to be able to check out the new channel in the pinned comment and in the description of this video. So hope to see you guys on the next one. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and see you on the next one.